Welcome back to Grad School. I can't remember every video that I did, but the most recent one was Friends in Graduate School. So go back and watch that, and go back and watch all of my previous videos. With any of those, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything to contribute to the conversation, please let me know. I want to keep going for you, and I want this to be a resource. So please let me know what you want to know about. Today is going to be all about projects, thesis, and dissertations. So first things first, everything kind of varies by your program. So it's going to be different based on what degree program you're going into, based on what school you're going into. It's going to be different. But this is like a general, this is what it is, what these big words mean, and how they apply to your program. So first things first, project. So the project, everything you're going to do is going to have work. It's going to require some writing, some reading, some theory, something attached to it. But the project is the lesser load of the three. And again, you might not even have a project as an option for your own program, but it all depends on what your school requires, what it allows. So for me, I have a project. And so what my project looks like is I have an internship placement wherever I choose at the last part of my program. And so simultaneously, I'll be working for whatever news organization I'll be at, but I'll also be doing research. And as you all know, my research is about representation. And so now I've been able to narrow that down, and it's going to be about the framing process. So the process that news organizations go through, how they filter these stories, how they find these stories, and how they write about these stories about communities and people that are different from, let's say, white or any non-minority group who are writing about these stories. So for me, it's going into the newsroom, getting that real experience in real time, but also doing research and interviewing maybe 12 or 20 journalists and editors about what their process is. What is that protocol? What is that formula for telling victim stories about violence and telling these stories about communities that they aren't really attached to? And so that's my whole thing for my dual research and internship project at the end of the semester. And so when it's all completed, I'll put it all together in a project. And so the project is pretty much a discourse conversation of previous literature. That's my lit review, why I'm doing it, what's my motive. And as y'all know, my cousin died, and so everything from that point on has been me trying to change that for my other little cousins and for my family moving forward, as far as making the representation better for me and then everybody else too. And so yeah, I want that to be the new rhetoric, the new program, as far as telling these stories in a different way. But first, I want to know what that formula is for telling violence victim stories, and then using that to change it so when it's my time to work professionally in a field, it's different and it's better. So that's my project program. Again, your project program might be different, but again, look into that with your school website, your program website, all of that. That's the basic project outline for the University of Missouri. Again, it might be different everywhere else, but this is what I have to do for me. And like I said, I would write a discourse about it, what I learned, what I got out of these interviews, what that tells me about future research, hint at future research about what else could be done on this topic to improve it, and just really just put like a holistic touch about what the protocol is, what the formula is, how they form these stories, why it's done this way, and then eventually use that to help rectify it and figure out how we can, as a media industry, can move forward and change the way we just put Jane Doe X died X years old, and just change the way we talk about victims and violence and things like that. The next type of capstone or end project for your degree program is a thesis. And theses are only for master's students. So the main difference between a thesis and a dissertation, so a dissertation is what typically PhD students, doctoral students do. And so the main difference, like I was saying, is like PhD students, they have to create their own discourse, to create their own theories, create their own things that add to scholarly work, things that add to knowledge about whatever your industry, whatever your area is. And so you're cultivating that type of study, that type of theory, that type of ideology. You're doing that yourself. But when it comes to a thesis, you are actually using previous studies, previous theory ideas in order to study and expand upon a current topic in a different way. So you might just be doing a different angle on a similar topic than something that's already been out there before. So you're kind of expanding upon what's been done, versus with the dissertation, you're actually creating that new piece of information to go out to the public, because the goal of it is to show your knowledge and that you can create knowledge, that higher level thinking of whatever your degree program will be. So main thing is with thesis, you're like not redoing, but you're doing new angles of current research on a similar topic. But with a dissertation, you're creating that theory, you're creating that ideology, and you're finding supplementary materials to support your argument and your claim. So it's similar, but not really, because their purposes are different. And again, one is to get a higher degree, so you have to do a little bit more to prove that you're ready for that advanced degree. So I think that's pretty much it as far as the major differences. But with any of these topics, always look into whatever program you want to go into. Always look into whatever area, whatever school, because they're going to be different. Some people have internships when that's their capstone, internships, or some people might have a final project with the group. It all depends on where you're trying to go. So look into that. And as always, don't just email, don't just say, oh, the website is going to tell me. Call and find somebody that can give you exactly what you can expect, because that's the reason why I'm doing this. Nobody told me how this program would be, and so I want to give you a little window into it, but it's up to you to follow through and find out how this really works for your own school, your own program, and you can get your degree in whatever you want to get it in when it's your time to do that. So be mindful about digging deeper and doing more than just surface level researching, because if you want to go into grad school, know that it's a lot, and it's going to be much harder than what anything undergrad was going to be. So figure it out now, so that when that time comes for you to make these hard decisions about project, thesis, dissertation, if you are a PhD student, what that'll look like and how you can move and navigate through that.